All right, I'm back in Seattle for a week, and one of the first things I noticed when I got into Seattle as I was heading into the Bellevue area was all of a sudden I got this huge surge of resentment. You gotta understand, I've lived here for 6 years and I've accumulated my fair share of bad experiences and good ones, but the bad ones tend to stick out. And when I pulled into Bellevue, I started getting angry about several people who had upset me in the past 6 years. And I think that's part of the reason why I've had difficulties in Seattle. I talked about how I am upset about disparities from being single, disparities from refusing various foods. I think part of the reason is that part of the reason I'm having a hard time speaking up for myself here in Seattle is that I just keep getting angry, and maybe I need to let those things go. So it was nice to have a break from Seattle for, well, on and off for 8 months now. It was really nice. And I'm recording this in February of 2021. I think COVID-19 is still going to go on for at least a few more months. I hope everybody is using this as a reset opportunity. Right? We keep talking about the economic reset of COVID-19, but I wish people would mentally reset with the situation of COVID-19. I really do. I think if you let COVID-19 pass without having a little bit of a reset in your mental life, I think you're wasting the opportunity of a lifetime, if you will. I really use this. So in 2020, my New Year's resolution was to normalize my relationship with food. I had lost a job and lost a girlfriend over food craving kind of problems. It's a long story, but I used to be very impulsive with food to the point that I didn't care what was going on. I would go to work late because I needed to get my favorite food. I would walk out on a girl because food was more important at the time. I would get into fights with people. Like, I go to the grocery store, my favorite food was out, and it caused anger issues. And hate to admit it here, but I've gotten banned from stores over anger problems like that. I would go to the store, food would be out, and I've had all sorts of problems. And COVID-19 forced me to reset those problems because I had to be used to the idea that my food was probably going to be out when I went to the store and be more malleable to trying something new, right? I had to, I definitely didn't want to be losing my job in the middle of a pandemic, so I had to be more malleable to the fact that sometimes food cravings will just have to sit there and be somebody that I could be comfortable. I like to personify the food craving, right? It was an uncomfortable feeling, but sometimes we have uncomfortable relationships in our life, right? Sometimes you have to go to a setting with an ex, and you have to be comfortable with that. That's how I like to view the food craving. That was 2020. In 2021, I made it a New Year's resolution to get over my fear of loud noises. Actually, I started it before 2021, but I kind of formally wrote it down in 2021, if you will. And that was nice. I'm adding to that resolution. I need to forgive the people here in Seattle that have wronged me, or that I perceive have wronged me in the past, because it caused a great cloud of resentment. Really, when I pulled into the Bellevue exit off of I-90 coming back here, it took me 10 seconds to clear that out of my head, and then I realized, oh my god, I'm letting all of that hold me back. When I need to stand up for myself, right? Maybe Seattle isn't so, I talk about bias about being single and bias against people who refuse various food items. Maybe it's not as big a problem here in Seattle as I think it is. I've just had too many bad experiences that I assume people are going to do that, and there it is, right? I won't talk about the bad experiences here because I need to let them go. But in the future, I just need to realize that single lives really do matter and speak up for myself, right? Hey, it's the end of the day. I'm going home, right? Or the other situations when I go out in public and I go out on Valentine's Day, and I had one time where the waiter was rushing me out the door. I should have spoken up for myself. Is there a reason why I need to pay my check now, right? Compared to the waiter gave me the check as soon as I sat down, right? 2 minutes after I sat down. I should have spoken up. And what else did I run into? Or I talked about in the last video how I was flying from I was on an airplane, and the ticket agent had changed my seat because a couple needed the seat. I should have spoken up to myself. Hey, I booked this on so-and-so date. You know, is there a reason you accommodate these people but not me, right? I'd love to do this, right? I should have spoken up to for myself. I guess on a plane it's a little bit tricky. You don't want to be raising too much of a noise there. Anyway, that's going to be my new goal for the next few months. But more importantly, I'm really hoping, but unfortunately, I'm hoping that people use this as an opportunity to reset their thoughts on things and reset their world views, if you will. But unfortunately, when I go out there, I see the extremes. Right? I see some people who do reset things for the better, but I also see people who smoke and drink and use drugs and do everything to the extreme now that they have nothing, or they perceive they have nothing to lose. It's kind of weird. I think we talk about the gap between the rich and the poor. I think over the next 10 years, we're going to have a big gap between the healthy and the unhealthy. I really see that coming. Even just the last year, the gap between the healthy and the unhealthy is really widening, in my opinion.